This is the south entrance to Fox Field, and we're going in to look at an F100 jet that's been moved here. This is the F100 that was out at the Mojave Air and Spaceport and the subject of several public meetings, being restored by Mr. Soest. Right now it's sitting at Fox Field.
The airplane was built in 1955. Served with the Air Force until 1967, 68, when it had a gear problem and it landed gear up, and then it sustained damage when it ran through a couple of taxiway lights and such.
Oh,
so
shoot.
The Air Force gutted the airplane, sent the fuselage and such to Davis-Monthan, where there was a request for an F100 from Flight Research out of Long Beach. Flight Research turned into Flight Systems, as we all know, ended up Mojave. So they brought the airplane up to Mojave, and after being in their possession for a little while, they donated the aircraft to the airport. That was in 71, so it sat out there for a number of years until 1988, when Dan Savovich, the airport manager at that time, he really yearned to have a F4 Phantom in place of the 100. So he worked a deal with Doug Nelson, who was the curator out at Edwards, and he, in turn, Dan Savovich donated the aircraft back to the Air Force. And in perpetuity, they gave him an F4 Phantom. So that's how everything came to be, why that aircraft was there. Fast forward to 2011. Steve Knight, the son of Pete Knight, who the retirement home is named after, made a written request to Calvet for an F100 to be placed at the retirement home. Calvet, being good friends with the museum I was involved with, the Air Power Museum out of Fresno, they contacted him basically saying, hey, where's there an F100? He said he'd look. So he calls me, he says, Dean, we need an F100, because I was his restoration manager at the time. And I said, Bill, there happens to be one right here. Only thing is, it belongs to the Air Force. The airport didn't even remember the fact that it, at that time now, belonged to the Air Force and not them. So what they ended up doing was, Bill made a request out there to the curator of the museum, and he came back and says, we can't find any paperwork. Well, that wasn't quite true. He just didn't want to get involved. So anyways, so Bill let that go, and he went back to the airport and said, hey, we'd like to have that F100 for the Pete Knight home. And so after much negotiating and this, that, and the other, they finally gave it to us December 2011. With the caveat that it be completed and removed and put in place in 6 months. They hadn't looked at the airplane, they didn't know the condition of it, but I did, because the previous curator at Edwards had requested me in 1995 to move the aircraft for them.
I see.
That's why I knew the airplane belonged to the Air Force. So after much ado, they gave it to us. We started working on it, and 2 years later, September 2003, well, I should say, back up to March 2003, our president and the owner of the U.S. Air Power Museum, Bill Dietzen, he passed away from cancer. So I carried on with the project because it was his last one, and we had it in a condition that all it needed was paint and a couple of panels, and that was it. So what ended up happening was that in September of 2013, the airport came up to our facility there and took the airplane away and had me arrested
Ah,
for theft,
okay.
which was a bogus charge.
Uh-huh.
And the courts bore that out
Yeah.
because they dismissed the whole thing twice. So anyway, after we got through that little part, then we went ahead and petitioned the courts to have the aircraft back, because they didn't own the aircraft, but they took it anyways. But the thing is that the courts saw the need for this to go to the home, and I always said that it was going to go to the home. That's where it is going to go. So they gave us back the aircraft. We moved it here at Fox Airport 3 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and now it's all put back together basically, except for panels.
Okay.
And we're going to move it tomorrow morning. I wanted to move it today, but there's a problem with the downlock for the nose gear, and that's why it's not off the jack right now.
I see.
So I got to get a new safety pin for that. But the airplane is complete. We spent 2 years of restoring it, including the cockpit. Found a brand new canopy for it, all that. New landing gear and demodeled brakes. And I got to know a lot about the 100 when this, came into my possession.
I'll bet.
I mean, we had the leading edges off and all that. So
Now, where's it to be painted?
we're not sure yet.
Okay.
What we are trying to do is find a place here on the field to paint it. We really need the help of the public to go ahead and give us some hand.
Okay.
We're desperately in need of financial support as well as physical support.
Sure.
We figure we have probably about 60 days left to go until we actually take it off the field and take it over to the home.
Uh-huh.
The crane company that helped us move it here, they supported us by not charging us, and we're indebted to them, as well as the transportation company that provided the transport trucks.
Uh-huh.
They didn't charge us either. So we're getting some help, but I'm not a promoter. That was Bill Dietzel's deal.
I see. He'd go around. Okay.
He was a big-time promoter, but anything anybody can do to help us, this is for the veterans and Calvet.
Okay.
So
And the money would go to?
the money would go to the Pete Knight Restoration, F100 restoration program.
Okay. Does that have a website where people can donate or anything like that?
Not right at the moment. We're trying to find somebody to set up a website for us,
Uh-huh. I see.
and we're looking to open up an account right now. But if anybody wants to make a donation, please, just get a hold of me, and we'll make it happen.
How can people contact you?
My website, Dean Soest, Soest at AOL.com,
Okay.
or my phone number, which is 661-917-6082.
Okay. And how much money do you think it'll take to
Well,
ultimately set it up there at the home?
we're looking at a modest amount of about $20,000 to finish it up.
Okay.
Like I said, we have some panels we still have to acquire. We know where they're at.
Uh-huh.
The person that has them is willing to let go of them, but naturally, nothing's for free.
Uh-huh.
It's the aircraft parts.
I see. I see.
So she's coming right along. I mean, we've got the main gear doors. We've got all these panels that are missing right now, the leading edge.
All right.
Stuff for the tail we have the horizontal stabilizers.
Sure.
And I just acquired a new pitot tube, and
Let's go look at that tube. Can we get close to
this airplane in front of the retirement home.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good. So what tube now did you get?
Oh, we got the original pitot mast.
Uh-huh.
This one's only a partial one. We made this. But the original one still bolts up the same way, but it comes out here with a pivot assembly where the rest of the mast actually sticks straight up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So we got an original one.
Uh-huh.
Another forward fuselage section.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'd like to be able to get the 20 millimeter cannon barrels, stick them in there, but I don't know if ATF would like us for that.
Now, what happens to all this stuff? You said it was out at Davis Mountain. I've been out there. They've got a lot of parts.
Most of the F100 stuff is gone.
Gone.
Over the last 5 or 6 years, so many museums and such have all been snatching it all up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
We're even going to paint the inside of the intake. As you can see, we've cleaned up a lot of the corrosion and stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's still some to be cleaned up, but
Sure. And do you know pilots here in the Antelope Valley that flew this thing?
yeah. In fact, last weekend we had a 85-year-old gentleman come by and said, I used to fly these when I was with, I think he said Northrop.
Uh-huh. I see.
Evidently they had one that was bailed.
Uh-huh. I see.
So
Well,
I told him, I said, come by any time. I'm going to be here mostly on weekends.
uh-huh.
That's when we work on it mostly. And then at night, like nights like this,
Uh-huh.
I'm here.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, it looks like quite a project, and I'm sure the vets would relish having it parked over there.
well, I have one gentleman, his name's Andy Andrews, that is a resident over there. He's 96 or 97 years old. I first met him in 1975,
Wow.
and we've stayed friends ever since.
Well, we better hurry up and get it over there.
Yeah, well, I've been wanting to get it over there, but the airport out of Mojave they had their own designs.
Uh-huh.
So-
I see.
We had to fight them in court.
Uh-huh.
We won.
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh. And Mr. Landsgaard represented you part of the time, I know.
yes, Mr. Landsgaard has provided a tremendous amount of insight and help in regards to getting this returned
Uh-huh. Good.
at no cost,
Uh-huh. Well,
because he wants to see it happen also.
he's a pilot too.
Yes, he is. And I work on his airplane. So
I see. All right. Well, Mr. Soest, thanks very much for all the information, and I hope that the public will respond to what you have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you gave me your contact information so they
Yes.
can get in touch with you.
get in touch with me 24 hours. Well, let's hold it to about midnight.
Thank you.
Not okay.
So now you say you're going to paint it up in to look like what era?
Vietnam era.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be painted the light gray on the bottom, and then above it'll be the two-tone green and brown.
Uh-huh.
So Pete Knight was a F100 pilot in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he did 3 tours,
I see.
and this was his favorite aircraft.
I see. Now, does this all have to be primed first before it's painted?
Yes. The
Okay.
reason it looks gray right now is that it was soda blasted to take all the old paint off.
Uh-huh.
So it's all bare metal right now.
Sure.
But we're
Sure.
gonna have to wash it, because it's been handled and all that. And there's oils and greases on it. So.
Uh-huh. I see. And you've got all these panels missing.
All the panels that you see missing, we have them,
Okay.
except for one that wraps around here on the other side. I
Uh-huh.
don't have that one. I gotta find it. So,
Uh-huh. I see. And originally this aircraft was made by,
North American Aviation
okay.
out of Culver City,
Mm-hmm.
and the aircraft was built in 1955.
Mm-hmm.
It's an A model.
Mm-hmm.
And they built not only A models but also C models and D models and F models.
Uh-huh. I see.
They skipped a B. I don't know why.
But made in California is what you're telling me.
It's made in California. Yes.
Uh-huh. And do you know how many were made?
That I don't know. I don't know the total number. I wish I did.
Yeah.
But it'll look real good. It'll look like it just came off the factory floor.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Anyways.
Yeah, and you'll have a canopy up there on top. And
Oh yeah, yeah. We rebuilt the seat already. I have the instrument panel ready to go in.
uh-huh.
And the only thing we're missing is some light groupings and such like that. So if anybody knows where there's F100 parts, please get a hold of me.
Sure, sure. Well, maybe there will be out there. The internet's a pretty powerful tool.
That it is.
All right. Thank you so much again.